think you know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it up. What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the.
Good evening, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever your current situation might happen to be right now. This is the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. We are here to review the 1999. I don't know that it's a classic comedy with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence life, and it is, of course, the bookend co-host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge tonight. Jeff S, aka TrueKnowledge, myself, and Cyberneticshark. Good to see you, brother. Good to be back with you, doing a solo co-host to co-host movie review. I always enjoy them. How are you, Cyber? How's everything going for you, sir?
I'm doing good, sir.
Well, that is good to hear. It is good to see you. It's good to talk to everybody out there. We are, of course, a podcast, and we appreciate everybody out there that catches us in audio form. Thank you very much. Obviously, it is February 2/21/25. It is Friday, and hey, it's the weekend. So life. Oh, before we talk about life. I just talked to Cyber actually in the studio before we started the show about the acquisition of the James Bond rights, however you want to call it, IP rights or whatever term you want to designate it. There's more to it than that. Amazon had already bought out the MGM catalog previously. I believe. Before actually, getting the full rights. So Cyber knows more about this than I do, so I'm going to ask him about it right now. What do you think, Cyber, about, I know I'm just throwing this at you for the first time for you today, but the fact that the Amazon is now going to be in control of what happens with the Bond IP. What do you think that they might do with it? What do you think about how that it'll be, if it'll be good for the Bond franchise in the future for Amazon to be in control of it?
Well, no, I don't think it's good that Amazon is owning the rights now. I think that they're going to try to change everything and get away from the classic, PPO of what James Bond is. And James Bond has always been played by, of course, white males. And they're usually very
British white males
and British, yeah. Well, don't forget Sean Connery was Scottish, so we have Scottish, we had English, majority of them and stuff like that. Pierce Brosnan, he's also Irish, so he was actually an Irish James Bond. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the fact that Amazon has acquired it, and we've seen what Amazon has done with a lot of the shows in recent years now. And make it a very DEI, unless they're going to keep it.
We're very aware. We've covered quite a few Amazon shows now,
and so taking it away from the Broccoli family, who supposedly are supposed to stay on still as like executives. I just think that it was a stupid move by them because basically giving the rights away to Amazon and brings up what you were mentioning earlier, how there's already feuding going on. Yeah, so you selling the rights to them was a stupid idea, and you're not going to get what you want anymore because you don't have the rights to it.
Apparently, the woman or whatever that runs the whole department over at Amazon, I forget her name. Apparently, in the conversation together with the woman that you just mentioned, she mentioned the word content to describe, what they want to do with the Bond rights, right? And that's what she didn't like. The daughter or whatever, from the family, she didn't like that word. You know what I'm saying?
Content.
Yeah. Apparently the word that's how the woman, she used the word content to describe in some form or fashion, what they want to do with Bond or the situation. You get what I'm saying, and that's something that was taken offense on.
Yeah, so content to me, once again, going back to what I was saying, they have an agenda that they want to push with it. So, unfortunately, giving the rights away, it can lead into them doing whatever they want with the character. So honestly, James Bond has always been a very interesting character. I've enjoyed quite a few of the different films. Definitely some of them I could care less about. But overall, James Bond has always been a great character, and that has always been fun to watch. And so, them not really keeping with the same storyline that was created for the Bond and switching it up and changing it, just really doesn't give justice to it. So I don't feel we'll get justice for the Bond anymore. I don't think the movies will be as good. As we have seen from Amazon Studios, they have put out some really crappy stuff recently. And so, unless they get their ass in gear and their heads out of their ass, and start putting out some better content, this purchase of, the Bond character could bite them in the ass. Because I know for a fact there's a lot of fans out there of Bond that will not want to watch it if it's too woke.
Well, it's a male audience that really goes to Bond films or whatever, watches, follows Bond, and he's got to be a hard drinking, womanizing, spy, secret agent, kind of, macho kind of guy. Like that's Bond. You can't really go beyond that. You know what I mean? Like you can't make him a simp. You can't make him weak or anything like that. It doesn't work. You can't feminize him or like put him in some kind of submissive role to a woman in a film. You can't do that with the character. It doesn't work. And Bond's not a character you can sell to women either. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not that kind of character, where you're going to be able to make that happen. But apparently they already floated out some kind of idea of like doing some kind of show with Moneypenny, like a Moneypenny series or something like that, was floated around or something like that. And the daughter didn't like that. She's like, what the fuck what are you kidding me? She just wants to apparently do what they've been doing, which is just, find a Bond, then you make a movie every couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like the formula that they've already gone by for so long, right? Now, of course, they don't have a Bond right now, but I think you probably already know who people want to be the next Bond, right?
Cavill.
Yeah, of course. You think that'll happen?
I don't know. I feel that too many bridges have been burned with Cavill in certain instances. So I don't know. I think that might be a hard, pull in to get him because of just all the crap that he's gone through, especially with The Witcher and all this kind of stuff. So I feel that would be a hard sell to get him. Honestly, I think probably their best bet.
It'd be a big benefit for him. He would benefit from the, the whole, deal or whatever himself.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep it, how Bond is, as long as they don't put like too much other stupid stuff in it, keep it simple formula like it's always been, and what's made money. I mean, the Bond films have made money over the last 50 plus years, 60 years now, being what it is, just like you were saying, a womanizing, hard drinking, action packed, gut dude. So, as long as they keep to that type of storyline, keep that character going and bring in, like, if they're able to get Cavill or if they get somebody like Aaron Taylor Johnson or, somebody like that caliber, I feel that they will have success. But if they decide to go the route, like you're already saying, that they want to make a Moneypenny show, they want to turn Bond into a woman, or they want to, bring in, like an Idris Elba to play Bond, which I don't have too much problem with that. I mean, it's still a dude, as long as he's still a womanizer and a drunk and, kicking ass. I have no problem with that. But at the same time, don't forget that he's always been that English white guy. So once again, people do not like change of something that has been around for 60 years that has
I
had
could,
good success.
I could handle that substitution as Bond. That would work for me. You know, I would sit down and want to watch that film with Idris Elba as Bond. That would be interesting to see. You know, I don't know. I didn't watch the last couple Bond films. I'm sure you did. Of course, I didn't see them. After Casino Royale was great. Then after that, I tapped out. I didn't watch any of the other Craig Bond films. I didn't see them. I heard not so good things about some of them. And I heard that he wasn't too happy playing the character at the end. And they kind of forced him into it there towards the end. But either way, I thought that was interesting to talk about. From what I understand, we've seen, we've covered Amazon stuff before. We're familiar with the type of content they make. They they really have to be intelligent and just make a common sense move when it comes to this IP. What works in the past will continue to work if it's done correctly. And we'll have to see if they're willing to actually bend and go a little bit more, adult, with go a little bit more R-rated, if you want to say, right? Were the Craig Bond films R-rated?
No, they were all PG-13.
They were all PG-13. All right. So, Life, 1999, a 90s film. Always nice to review a 90s film. Like we always start off with, Cyber. Tell me what your thoughts are on your first introduction to Life, and how's it holding up now? Going on 25 plus years.
My first time watching it, I rented it DVD from Blockbuster. Probably, it was definitely probably like 2004, 2005. And I remember watching it and thinking, oh, I love Eddie Murphy. I like Martin Lawrence. This should be good. And my first outing with the film, I was kind of like, okay, this is different. This is interesting. Definitely more drama than comedy, I felt. A little more on the serious side. Interesting storytelling and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is okay. Was it my favorite? No. Was it the best? Nah. Best Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence? No. I think some of their other films that came out around that time, like The Nutty Professors, Black Knight, Silver Streak, stuff like that, were definitely better films. But I just remember thinking, I'm like, this is a little slow and boring a little bit at times. And I remember thinking, just, overall thinking, this is okay. I've seen better. And then rewatching it today, I was like, okay, I have a little better understanding of it now. It's still decent. It holds up to its standards. Definitely really, focusing on the horribleness of them being stuck in jail for 60 years. I think that it was not too badly done. It was a pretty decent film, and definitely could have gotten better comedy out of it. Still a little slow at parts, still kind of very dramatic, which they could have done, I think, better. Not as dramatic. I think it's kind of interesting. The guy that directed this actually was related to Jonathan Demme.
Demme?
Yeah, he was related to Jonathan Demme, the director of Silence of the Lambs. So he definitely had a little bit of that vibe. I felt he was bringing in that little dramatic element to his film here. So yeah, overall, I think my impression on this is from first time watch to now is pretty much the same. It's a decent, okay film that has some entertaining value.
I found it funnier when I saw it back in the day in like, in 90, and back, I would have saw it probably on HBO, right? Or Cinemax or whatever the fuck it came out on back then. You know what I'm saying? I would have saw it then. And I thought it was funny as shit as a kid, but the humor doesn't hold up, quite as well. But the story is still interesting. It's a 90s movie. You're not going to see a movie like this now, I don't think. Like in 2025, I don't see anybody making a movie like this, of this nature. Really, where we're at right now with the industry, it's definitely something that's a product of the 90s, the early 2000s type era type filmmaking, where you could put together two celebrated comedic actors, right, and build a film off that, and just have that be have them carry the film. You know what I mean? You don't really have anything like that going on right now currently. But as Cyber mentioned, directed by Ted Dem, the film stars Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Supporting cast includes Ned Beatty, R. Lee Ermey, Oba Batundi, Bernie Mac, Anthony Anderson, Miguel Nunez Jr., Bokeem Woodbine, and so forth and so on. The movie actually did receive an Oscar nomination for Best Makeup at the 72nd Academy Awards. Life failed to meet the studio's expectations at the box office and received mixed reviews from critics. But as it says on every entry on Wikipedia, the film later found a strong cult following among Murphy and Lawrence's fans, establishing Life as a cult classic. Okay, so as far as the plot of Life goes, in 1997, at the Mississippi State Penitentiary, elderly convict Willie Long tells two inmates his friend's life story at their burial. Ray Gibson and Claude Banks, New Yorkers from different worlds, meet at a club called Spanky's in 1932. Ray, a small-time thief, picks Claude as a mark in a bathroom who had just been stripped of the remainder of his money by debt collectors. Ray convinces club owner Spanky to let him and Claude pay off their debt via bootlegging. Traveling south to buy Mississippi hooch, they pay for the booze and get sidetracked when they enter a local bar. Ray, wanting to enjoy the moment, loses his father's prized pocket watch to card hustler Winston Hancock, and Claude lost his money after being solicited by one of the customers. Outside, racist Sheriff Warren Pike kills Hancock, framing Ray and Claude. So a lot happens during all that. Obviously, Claude loses his money to that prostitute chick, that fine black prostitute chick, you know what I'm saying? Which that's a pretty good deal. $2 for Boom Boom, telling you.
That's a great deal.
That's a good deal, man.
$2?
$2. I'm telling you.
If Boom Boom costs $2, what was the BJ? 50 cents?
That'd be funny if the BJ was 50 cents. That would be very funny, Cyber. Good one. Very good one, sir.
Hot D.
There you go. You get the award for that one. So very, very interesting. Basically, the whole setup with Ray is he's a square, and he's a banker, right? And he's I forgot the name of the actress that plays his girlfriend in the film, but she's hot. That young black chick in the movie, she's fine as hell. I've seen her in other stuff. I just can't remember her name for the life of me. But I'll look her up right now. But so what do you think, Cyber? What are your thoughts on that section of the film?
So, I mean, the one thing about this movie is it does have a very interesting plot. And, that has been very interesting. The whole
Sana Lathan.
Yep. She was in Alien vs. Predator.
Yep.
And Out of Time, one of my favorite Denzel Washington films.
Oh, Yeah, out of time.
And I like that, this is taking place back in like Prohibition era. That's really fun. And, they took it from a whole new, kind of angle, showing like a perspective of bootlegging with the African-American community, you know what I mean? With the Black community. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I'm sure there was, Black people back then that were bootlegging too as well, and stuff like that. So that was kind of an interesting, little, tidbit. I thought that it was interesting to see that kind of aspect of the Prohibition era. And, I thought that the supporting cast all did a good job of working with, Lawrence and Murphy. And so throughout this section, I think that basically what ends up happening, them getting framed for that murder, is so fucked up and just really sucks. But at the same time, you get some really great kind of like bar action there going on with them, and Lawrence being hustled by some prostitute, and then Murphy losing his pocket watch. You're just like, oh, come on, bro. Why would you put that in? How do you know that you would have won? Like, unless you were cheating. I'm like, oh. And you're just kind of like, oh, that was a dumb idea, especially a priceless heirloom like that. You kind of deserve to lose it, sir. And but at the same time, you're kind of like, throughout this, you're not really feeling bad for Murphy, but you kind of feel bad for Lawrence because he's such a square, because he's so kind of oblivious to things going on, and you're kind of like, this dude is just idiot. Like what's going on here? And Santa Laughlin played his girlfriend or wife. Was I thought it was very interesting at the time because she was becoming really big at this time. This is when she really started hitting movies and was becoming kind of a big actress. And so I forgot that she was even in this until I saw her, and I was like, holy crap, I forgot she was in this. I'm like, what? And I was like, oh, that's great. Like, that's fun. And so I thought her and his kind of like relationship there at the beginning was really funny and like interesting to watch and stuff like that. And I just thought overall, like, this whole beginning gave you a really good idea of the Prohibition era and kind of like what was going on. It kind of made me think of Harlem Nights. I don't know if you've ever seen that, or any of our listeners, with Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, which was a Eddie Murphy directed film. It kind of gives you that Harlem Nights feel a little bit too at the same time. And and so knowing our
demographic, Cyber, I'm sure most of the people who are will listen to this have seen Harlem Nights.
Yeah. And so like it gave me kind of that vibe a little bit too at the same time, but like that scene where they like hook up Martin Lawrence to the rig and drop him into the water, I was like, what the hell? Like,
I like when Winston is dead and they're trying to tell the white dudes that he's just drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, Winston. You know what I'm saying? He's passed out drunk.
Yep. So yeah, I think it's a really great beginning. Really gets you into the film, gets you into them going to prison, and really setting up the story for them being in prison for life and their kind of their antics afterwards. So I think it's a really solid beginning that I found really entertaining.
Do you like the you don't see done quite as much nowadays, but the throwback to the whole opening with the future, you know what I mean? Like, and then like, segueing back into the flashbacking right off the bat off that, you know what I mean?
The storytelling I think is really fun. Yeah, that was fun to see again.
Yeah, how they kind of chop it up and change it up and make him older later on and all that kind of stuff and all that. You don't see that really going on that much anymore. I don't see it in film.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It adds a layer. So Ray and Claude are given life sentences. And with hard labor at an infamous prison camp called Camp 8. They immediately run afoul of the guards, Sergeant Dillard and Hoppin' Bob, and also meet fellow inmates Jangaleg, who makes a pass at Claude, Willie Long, Biscuit, another homosexual inmate involved with Jenga Leg, Radio, Goldmouth, a bully who picks a fight with Ray but befriends him afterwards, Cookie the chef, and Poker Face. Great ensemble. That like Cyber already said, that supports Murphy and Lawrence really well. Claude's cousin, an attorney, unsuccessfully appeals his conviction and seduces his girlfriend, who's grown tired of Claude's selfishness. And they have a nice conjugal visit. With no chance of freedom, Claude and Ray break out, getting as far as Tallahatchie before being captured. So I'll stop there. Lot happens during there. We get the famous cornbread scene where Eddie Murphy fights that big dude over his cornbread. That's in there. We see Lathan one more time. Then she's out for the film. You know what I mean? She comes by for a conjugal visit. She has a pretty face. That's what she had going for her. And then what do you think about the whole induction of them into the prison and all the side characters and everything, Cyber?
So, I mean, the introduction to them getting to prison, the different sheriffs and wardens and stuff like that, the prison people, is really funny. And the introduction to all those great side characters like Miguel Nunez Jr., Anthony Anderson, Bernie Mac, and so forth and stuff is super funny. That scene where Bernie Mac, they're all sitting down, he starts talking to Lawrence, and he or either Lawrence or Murphy, I think it was Lawrence or something. And he's like, you definitely can tell there's something not right with him. And he's like, if you need it, I can get it. And he's like, okay. And like the guard guy's like, stop trying to sell stuff. What do you call it? He's like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry. It was like super funny. And, all the different side characters all worked really well. I thought they all like play the characters. And I liked it because even though we had characters in it, like, Miguel Nunez Jr. character and the other character, and they're supposed to be gay and stuff like that, they kept it professional. They kept it like, okay, so they're gay, but they're not having to express it in any way. You just know that they are. And I like that. That's what I loved about the 90s films with the gay characters, stuff like that. They always were actually funny. They actually always were really well acted and prepared and stuff like that. And I thought that, Miguel Nunez Jr. and the other guy did a really great job of portraying those characters. It was super funny. And also the cornbread scene, Martin Lawrence like, yeah, he can have my cornbread, it's okay. And Martin's like, no. He's got to work for this. You're not going to just give him. If he wants one, he can go get it and like stuff like that. And they keep like kind of arguing back and forth, and then he ends up having to fight that guy. It was like freaking hilarious, and just kind of like watching it going, that doesn't seem like a fair fight there. And it just worked. It was like super funny, and like that was where it really kind of like brought the comedy in. It gave us a really great scene that really pulled you back into the film. And I just thought the whole cornbread thing and how big that piece of cornbread was, I was like, damn, I want that. I want a piece of cornbread that big. Damn, that's really good. And I thought that it was like super funny and just really hilarious. But leading up to the escape attempt was great. I mean, we had that great like scene where he tries to Murphy tries to commandeer the airplane and crashes it, and they pull it back out of the wreckage. That was super funny. And they end up them trying to flee, and then they get caught and stuff like that. You're just kind of like man, you should have played that better, guys. Like, Jesus. But I mean, all this stuff that happened in between, there was just a lot of great dialogue I felt between the characters, and you got to understand a lot of the characters too. That great scene where Lawrence is like, I'm tired, I don't want to shovel anymore. It was like super funny too. And that one black guard guy that was kind of like a repeater of the other guard guy was like super funny too. So lots of great stuff goes on in the sequence. Really fun, really enjoyable, and I thought it was pretty decent.
Okay. You're a 2X, aren't you, t-shirt wise, Cyber?
2X, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, most definitely. I think Bernie Mac is great, as the male character, the dude character, with the gay other, prisoner or whatever, that's like his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, that's super funny. Oh my god, that was freaking hilarious. And just like how he plays it off was like on point, like super funny. And even the guy played like the girlfriend kind of character, he like played it off to the point too. Like it just was really well acted, and it was funny, and it didn't seem like I don't know how they kind of show it in the last couple of years when it comes to like gay characters and stuff like that. It just doesn't have the same feeling as it did in the 90s. And this just was so well constructed. And I thought it was super funny. And I laughed at it. I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, you're right. They handled it because it was the 90s and things were more sane back then. They handled the whole thing a lot different. The whole gay, whatever you want to call it, like almost trans kind of like, type stuff in the movie was handled a lot differently, like more realistic, right? I'm with you on that. I get where you're going with how they handled that, okay, so essentially, in 1944, 12 years later, Claude and Ray meet young mute inmate Can't Get Right, a talented baseball player who is cited by a Negro League scout who offers a pardon to play baseball, essentially. Sensing an opportunity for freedom, Ray and Claude introduce themselves as his handlers. Despite his talent, Can't Get Right is often distracted by May Rose, the daughter of Camp 8 Superintendent Abernathy. May Rose is hot. After May Rose gives birth to a biracial boy, Abernathy furiously demands to know who was the father. Various inmates simultaneously claim to be the father, which is hilarious. I be the pappy, embarrassing Abernathy by indicating that she had slept with all of them, which results in an all-present laughing at Abernathy and him quitting on the spot and leaving the prison. During a dance social, Biscuit confides to Ray that he is due for release, but fears returning to his family because of his homosexuality. Despite Ray's sincere encouragement to resume life on the outside, Biscuit instead commits suicide by crossing the gun line, much to the shock and heartache of the other inmates. Can't Get Right is soon released without Ray and Claude, which causes extreme frustration and a bitter falling out between them, ending their friendship. Over the following years, Ray's attempts and several escapes alone unsuccessfully. So, what do you think about that section, Cyber? Obviously, a lot occurs. You get the Can't Get Right character, which is like, they call him a retard right there in the movie, like back when retard was okay to be to say or whatever.
They're coming back around to re-saying it these days, though. They are. I
noticed the retard is coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. Like, why did it go away to begin with? Like,
I don't know either, but it's coming back. I noticed that you can say it now freely, and people don't really seem to mind anymore.
Yeah. But anyways,
what do you think about that section, sir? Go ahead.
So, I mean, this section is kind of, this is where it gets kind of sad a little bit. This is where the dramatic element really pulls in, especially with this, the suicide attempt by Biscuit. And, that's really sad. That was like, oh, I'm like, wow, they really went deep here. I'm like, that kind of sucks. I was like, I really like that character. And, but like the whole thing with the superintendent's hot daughter and the baseball player, the mute baseball player, was absolutely hilarious. And then everyone claimed to say that there's a baby after she has a baby. It was super hilarious. And I was laughing real hard at that sequence. I thought it was super funny. And I mean, when they all started like saying, "I'm the pop, I'm the pop, I'm the pop," was like just you're kind of like cracking up, going,
funny. It's funny.
It's like that totally. I feel that's what would really happen in a situation like that back in 1944, and I think it was just really well done, really well executed, and all the attempts that Ray tries without Claude was super funny too. Like all the different escapes that he tries to do, and they're all successful. It was really fun, and I mean, like the whole situation, like at the dance, like I said, very dramatic. Wasn't a lot of comedy there. It was more dramatic than anything. And leading up to the suicide of Biscuit, it was just kind of like, ooh, that really took a nosedive. I was like, oh. And I had forgotten about that because it's been so long since I've seen this film. I mean, I think it's been I would say at least almost 20 years since the last time I saw this. So this was like my second time watching it. I was like, wow, I forgot a lot about this movie. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, going, ooh, that's just like, that goes really deep. And I was like, it really affected me. I was kind of like, that's really sad. I'm like, wow, they did a really good job of really emphasizing and getting out of there, like kind of that heartfelt, jerky kind of moment there. The writing really well done. And, great acting by everyone on part. But like the falling out of Claude and, Ray, it kind of sucks. It was kind of like, oh crap, like, you're kind of with friends only because you're kind of in that situation, but it's like things lead up to you like basically, breaking up basically. And I was just like, oh, that's too bad. And it was kind of interesting, how, Martin Lawrence kind of was like all against Ray. He was like, it's all your fault, Ray. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for you and stuff like that. And you're just kind of like, well, you kind of led yourself in that direction there, Claude. So you kind of are to blame a little bit too. And it was kind of like all pointing at Ray, and Ray, poor Ray was kind of like, oh, okay, well, good. So I thought that was really acted really well. I thought that they did a really good job there too as well, especially because, like I said, this movie is so much more, a drama than a comedy, and it's more of a drama with elements of comedy thrown into it. And I feel like a lot of scenes were like really dramatic element acting, and I was, I forgot how, much this film was like that, and those scenes reiterated that for me, and I was like, wow, I was like, this is very deep. So I think, this section is pretty decent. Very sad, I feel, and, basically kind of gives you an idea of, more of what went on in their prison life, leading up to, getting to the point we're at.
Cyber, I don't know what happened, but your audio got a little bit rough on your end, brother. So if you changed anything or anything got loose potentially or anything like that, you might want to check. Just like take a look real quick. You got a little bit of feedback going on your end, but
chewing.
What is it?
I said I was chewing, so maybe it was that.
No, you for once you always have really great audio, folks. Cyber always has great audio. You sound better now. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. That's weird.
You're good. For a minute there, you got a little bit distorted on your end, but I can hear you and everything. Your vocal was okay. It does get sad. You're right. I guess that kind of lends towards what you said earlier about the director kind of going in a direction with the film where it's a comedy, but he wanted to add like some drama flair to it or whatever, throwing that death in there kind of, really kind of sucks the life out of, out of the humor a little bit there for a minute. You know what I mean? They're having their party and all of a sudden, the guy gets shot, you know what I mean? And you see Jangalang, go up to like, get his body or whatever, it's kind of emotional. You know what I mean? I think it's handled well. Like you said, I think they handle it all well, and I think that's just, because it was 25 years ago, right? It was the 90s. So, things were handled differently. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Jasmine? If you're still there, how are you, brother? Anyways, so you are good, Cyber. Your audio is A-okay. So coming off of that last section with the hubris. Oh, I gotta let you know what, Don. During a dance social, Biscuit confides to Ray that he is due for release, but fears returning to his family. Oh, I already covered that. I'm sorry. My bad, folks. Yep. Duh.
Hot D.
Yep.
By 1972, Ray and Claude are still not speaking. All their friends, except for Willie, have either died or been released. One day, Claude snaps, running past the gun line to steal a pie. An ode to an earlier scene where he attempted to buy a pie in a whites-only diner on his way to Mississippi, but was denied, which was kind of stupid when he did that. And he's punished by having to stand barefoot on a case of bottles. Dillard offers to set Ray free if he will shoot Claude should he move. Ray refuses and is given the same punishment. Touched, Claude apologizes, and they finally make amends. So, Ray and Claude are transferred to live and work at Superintendent Dexter Wilkins' mansion. Ray does yard work while Claude works inside and befriends Wilkins. Claude is entrusted to pick up the new superintendent, who happens to be Sheriff Warren Pike. While on a pheasant hunt one day, Ray notices that Pike has his father's watch and realizes he is the one who framed them 40 years prior. When Ray presses Pike on the true origins of the watch and the scar on his left cheek, Pike instantly recognizes Ray and threatens to kill him. Ray then grabs Pike's shotgun and shoots it at him. He tells Wilkins that Pike framed him and Claude for murder, which the sheriff admits to with no remorse, saying that the state of Mississippi had them as cheap labor for 40 years. Furious with the response, Ray tries to kill him for robbing him and Claude 40 years of their lives. Claude struggles to stop Ray from killing him. Pike aims at them both with a hidden derringer. Realizing they are both innocent and disgusted with Pike's wickedness, Wilkins kills Pike and covers it up as a hunting accident, avenging Claude and Ray, who reclaimed his father's watch. He apologizes to Ray and Claude for their unjust imprisonment and promises to issue them pardons, but suffers a fatal heart attack before he can do so. And I'll throw over to you, Cyber, on that section. I'm going to let Dodge in.
Okie dokie. All right. So this section, folks, it's really interesting, too. I mean, this film, like I said, is very deep for a, comedy film. It's definitely more dramedy than it is comedy. And this whole section, I mean, we end up having it, now jump to 1972. And, Ray and Claude finally, start speaking to each other again because they finally apologized to one another, which was really fun. I thought the whole pie stealing thing was super hilarious. And he's like eating the pie and stuff like that was super funny. And then him getting stuck. Yeah, it's like too hot. And him getting stuck on those, like having to stand on those bottles was like super hilarious too. And he's like, I could do this all day. It was like super funny. And, but then like them getting that like, work, to work at that mansion for that, warden guy was like super funny. Ned Beatty, absolutely loved Ned Beatty. He was such a great actor. And, I thought that was like super funny. Like them, like, Claude having to do all the yard work, but then, Ray doing all the yard work, and then Claude like pampering the warden guy and stuff like that, and like helping him out and stuff inside was like super funny. And kind of like, Claude kind of getting back at Ray for bring him into this situation that where they got put into prison. It was kind of like I felt like that in that situation he was kind of taking advantage of that, and you can kind of see that. But at the same time, it's like he was just trying to do to get some kudos, basically. And that was like super funny. Like the guy asking about, do you think this is a good place? And Ray's all like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? Like this, what? Like, what? And like him getting all mad and stuff was like super funny. And like at this point, like they had put the makeup and stuff like that on them. And I could see why this movie got nominated for makeup effects, because they did a really good job making them age. They really did. Like the special effects on their faces like that really made them look like they were, now in their mid 60s, late, early 70s. And so I thought that was really done well. And so I could see why they got that, and like they really looked like. But at this whole time, like during this 1972 section, like every time Murphy talked, it made me think of like him playing his character from the Nutty Professors, like him playing the old grandma. It kind of made me think of that, like how he was talking and shit. It was like super funny.
It reminded me of Coming to America.
Yep, Coming to America too. Yeah, the barber guys made me think of that too, and that was like super funny. But like that whole situation, we got them to doing that hunting, thing, and then Arlie Emery popping up as an older version of that Pike guy, was like on point. Like that was a perfect person to have play that character, and then finally, getting the justice, like of this dude, like framing them 40 years earlier, and they finally get the justice, and somebody seeing that, yeah, they really are innocent. You're like, yes, this is awesome. But then him dropping dead of a heart attack in the toilet was just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like that was so fucked up. And I was like, oh, that's so bad. They just can't get a break, and it like just keeps compounding on that like sadness of the level of them being stuck in prison for 60 years, And so it's like, this really sucks. But a really interesting sequence that, gives us finally some closure of them being actually innocent, and, that somebody at least seeing, that they were innocent and that they deserve to be set free, was just really fun and really great. So I think this was a very interesting sequence, and they get that justice.
What the way that the story is designed, like I said in the beginning, how it starts off with the future, not like current day, you know what I mean, and then it flashes back as the main story, you know what I mean, through flashbacks, right? Everything we're talking about is through flashbacks, and then ties back into the current story, right? The current real life story, with the makeup and all that, and the aging and all that, and the time gaps and things like that. It's a unique kind of 90s comedy that you really aren't going to see yet, nowadays. I don't think, right? It's fitting for the time period, isn't it? The kind of films that were being made back then.
Yeah, I mean, that was very common, I felt. I mean, through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, even early to the early 2000s, there's a lot of films that did the flashback thing. And yeah, you don't see that very often anymore, where they go back and forth between present and past, somebody tell a story. And that was always a really great, I thought, script, them doing that, because then you got to see all kinds of different like angles of stuff like that. But actually, what's kind of funny, a movie does do that just came out recently this year, called The Monkey. The Monkey does that. It does where it goes from 1999 to 2025, and does that. So it is there. It's starting to come back a little bit, them doing storytelling like that again. And I think that's brilliant, because that, I think, is a really great way to tell a film, to make a film, because not only does it get you creatively thinking, but also it brings you into kind of nostalgia, because you're getting to see a different time period, and you come back to present, and you get kind of that element of showing the differences between the two time periods. So I think that's a fun element that was very common back then.
I like it in movies. I don't like it in TV series when they try to do the same kind of thing in TV series. You know what I'm talking about. I typically don't like it in TV series. It doesn't work well as well. You know what I mean? Just a different medium. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, most definitely. I didn't know that, obviously, about the monkey or whatever. I've seen the trailers and all that, but I didn't know that about the film. But okay, so essentially where we picked up, is that we're in 1997, present day. Ray and Claude live in the prison infirmary with Willie. Claude tells Ray of a new plan, which Ray initially rejects, but then follows Claude to hear more. Later that night, the infirmary catches fire, and they seemingly perish in the flames. The inmates are saddened by the story, and Willie concludes the tale by outlining Claude's plan. Ray and Claude would steal 2 bodies from the morgue, start the blaze, plant the bodies in their beds, then hide and escape in the fire trucks. When asked why the plan did not work, Willie tells the workers that he never said it didn't work. The inmates quickly realize the bodies they have buried are not Ray and Claude, who have gone back to New York immediately and are watching a Yankees game. They are again on good terms, free and living together in Harlem. And that's the end of the film. So, Cyber, what are your final thoughts on, this last piece of the film life?
So I love it that it's finally supposed to be like almost present day. It's supposed to be 2 years than when this film actually came out. But I love that, it's supposed to be present day. They're supposed to be like 90 at this point. They've been in prison now for, 70 years almost. Pretty much, yeah, they've been in 60 plus years. And, Claude coming up with another plan was actually kind of hilarious at this age. And I'm thinking to myself, like, really, you're going to try to do this at this age? I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, huh? Like, you guys are like 90. Why would you be trying to escape at 90? I just don't get it. But at the same time, it's kind of comical. And, that whole scene where they're like playing poker and using their pills, like, and the other guys are like, why would I want this? I'm not your age. I don't have that problem. And he's like, hey, you're gonna. And, basically, Ray kind of rejected his plan at first, and then going along with it is really fun. And I think it's super funny. And then like the place burned down. All of a sudden the place is on fire. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then we see, Ray come out. He's like, where's Claude? Where's Claude? And he goes back in and you're like, what the hell? And then, it goes back to present day where the guys are, filling doing the grapes for them. And you're like, oh, like, this is too bad that they died in the fire. And then finally Willie saying, I never said it didn't work. You're like, what? And all of a sudden they're at a freaking Yankees game, and you're just like, what? They survived. Like, they got out. Like, yay! You're like, you've been waiting for that the whole fucking movie. You're like, oh, yes, they finally got free. And you're just like, hey, it might be 70 years later, but hey, you finally got out, guys. You finally got your freedom. And it's just like awesome and like so much fun. And that it's like super funny as they're like talking about baseball while they're sitting there. But then I think it's even funnier is like you look at the rest of the audience and everyone there is like white, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, that's New York for you. And it was kind of funny. It was just kind of like they're at Yankee Stadium and they're like there watching it in their 90s, and you're just like, wow, like. And then it says they live in Harlem now, and you're just kind of like, that's hilarious. That kind of brings me back to that moment when they go pick up Warren Pike, and Claude sees himself in the mirror for the first time in like forever and realizes that he's older. And it kind of makes me think of like when they finally got out, like, Jesus, I wonder what they thought how they would look now. Like, that would be, kind of funny to see them like look in the mirror going, holy crap, something like that. And it just was, it was a great ending to, kind of a very sad section of the film, leading up to this part, and them getting kind of their, freedom was really awesome. So I thought it was a really good ending.
Okay, most definitely, yes. It definitely, it has its moments. It has that part where they play like all of the historical big events that like over the new, from the news and stuff like that, through the one section, right? Like they have that part where they kind of show like what's going on culturally, like, while the guys are aging in the prison, right? There's definitely like, some serious like overtones in the film. I mean, like there probably were like black prisons like that, back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that were pretty rough. You know what I mean? Like, like it would not shock me if they did not exist. You know what I'm saying? So like, you got that. There is some, some of that, some serious undertones there with some of that stuff. But then you've got really just, silly stuff like the warden holding up the black baby up against the different inmates. You know what I mean? Like to their faces and shit, like to try to figure out which one is the father. That is hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. He holds it up to the big guy and he's like, oh, I hope not, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that, I love that scene, when the Jenga leg comes out and he's like, I'm the pappy or whatever. And everybody starts laughing. That's hilarious. All right. So, let's rate this sucker, so we can plug out of here and crush another MCU's Bleeding Edge style movie review. I'll rate Life for what it is. It's nice. It feels. I'm happy to do a comedy. We haven't done a comedy in a while, so it's nice to talk about a comedy, like a comedy kind of film. We've done Eddie Murphy before, but we've never done Martin Lawrence before. I'd say I would give Life a solid 7.5. It's entertaining, and it has an interest. It has a story that is worth giving your time to. You know what I mean? Like for the whole film. Even if it does have some slow parts here and there or whatever.
Okay, I'll give it a solid 6. I just think it's too dramatic to be considered really a comedy, even though they try to play it off as being a comedy. And so that distinction just makes me feel like, it's a decent film. It's got some great moments. It's got a lot of heartache, but it's got a decent ending where they get free finally. So I have to give it a 6 because I think it's it's definitely a solid film to watch.
Most definitely. Cyber, on another topic, what do you think about everything that Trump has been doing so far, sir? Our guy Trump.
Well, I mean, he's keeping his promises, as he said in his campaign. So I don't see any problems with what he's doing. He's been keeping his promises. He's been signing all those executive orders to get certain things done, and
he removed biological males from women's sports.
Yep, which they shouldn't be there to begin with. No, it's an unfair advantage.
You're right about that. That Olympic female boxer got rocked against that one trans chick. She got hit like one time or whatever, and she was like, "That's it, I'm done." You know what I'm saying? Like, she said it was the hardest she'd ever been hit in her entire life or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She could have got fucked up if she would have kept fighting that dude.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it came out that those were both dudes too that won the gold medals.
Yep.
It's crazy.
100%.
There's already still states that are letting the trans players play in the female sports still, and like thwarting the executive order. It's fucking crazy. This one governor from Maine, Trump creamed her, over the subject, like humiliated her, face to face. It was pretty hilarious. Did you hear about that?
I did. I saw the video.
You saw the video? She's like, I'll see you in court or whatever.
Yep. And he's like, see you there.
He's like, I'll see your career will be over. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm telling you. And what do you think about Elon and Doge and all that shit? We haven't talked about that either.
I mean, it's a work in progress, but what I've seen or read so far is very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see where it all leads to. Simply for the fact, I feel like it's definitely pushing in the right direction. This Dodge, most definitely.
There you go. You like Elon?
I have nothing against him.
Yeah. He was at CPAC yesterday.
Yep.
So
I think that he'll be I think he's been a good addition so far.
Yeah, I like it. I like what he's done with X. You know, I like that part. I think he's done a good job with X. I think I think he's made it a platform where free speech is allowed. You know what I mean? And obviously, so before we get out of here, a couple other things, Cyber. I don't know if there's been a trailer out. I haven't looked, but we have The Last of Us season 2 coming up. What do you think about that, sir? Are you excited to cover Last of Us season 2?
Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of the first season. So it'll be interesting to see what season 2 brings. I wouldn't say I'm super excited, but I'm definitely excited to review it to see where it leads to.
Okay, and what about Andor?
Andor, it'll be interesting to see where that goes to. Andor is definitely was a decent Star Wars show. And it had some good moments. It had some slaggy moments. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with season 2, where they take it, and kind of how they expand on that story. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that story goes. Very much so. You
didn't think that Andor was like really high level, you've seen all the really all the good reviews and everything and whatnot that Andor's gotten online. You know what I mean? It's a highly praised series. You know what I'm saying? For what it is, I thought it was high level. You didn't think it was like the writing and everything, the characters, the acting. You didn't think that it was like really, for Star Wars, that it was really high level?
I thought it was pretty much on the same level as the rest of the shows that have come out from Disney Plus. I mean, it definitely was higher caliber than like some of the other shows that have been on. Like I definitely thought it was more high caliber than Obi-Wan. But I thought it was the same level as Skeleton Crew and level of Ahsoka. I thought that it was that kind of same level. I mean, it was the same kind of storytelling for me. I thought it was a little overpraised. I thought it was okay. I wasn't like, oh my God, it's the greatest fucking show ever. No, I was not like that for that show. I thought it was okay.
See, I did. I did. I thought it was like, like you remember I was like, I was feverish about it while we were doing it. We had some long shows because I was, going on and on about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And of course, I was very kind to you and I cut you out on those nights and didn't make you sit there for 4 hours or whatever, with like me and the other guys. But I thought Andor was like, just on its own like level almost. Like I thought some of the writing was just and some of the delivery and the lines, of some of the speeches and stuff like that some of the characters dropped. I thought it was just a really, really, really good show. I'm really looking forward to it. At least to acknowledge that it was a solid, TV show. It's worth watching and worth talking about, I think. And season 2 should be good. Are you excited to do Daredevil? We got 2 weeks to go.
Looking super excited for Daredevil. I mean, I've been waiting to talk about Daredevil forever since they released the first trailer, since they started talking about saying they're filming. That I'm definitely looking forward to. I think Charlie Cox as Daredevil is amazing. I love Eldon Henson as Foggy. I love D'Onofrio as Kingpin, and I just think that the Daredevil, or Netflix original series was a really good series too as well. So I'm just looking forward to seeing that character come back and show what potential Daredevil has as a character for the MCU.
You like Deborah Ann Wall as Karen?
She's okay. She's a pretty face, I feel. Her acting isn't the greatest, but she's definitely a pretty face.
She was good in True Blood.
She was okay.
Did you watch True Blood?
Oh, yeah. All 6 seasons. Or 7.
I fell off at the end and I didn't watch the last season.
Yeah, we watched all the seasons because the wife was really into it.
It got hard for me to keep track with it because it got all over the place. The story got all over. You remember?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was a good show, though. The first couple of seasons were really, really solid.
Yep.
So, what do you think? I'm assuming then that probably Daredevil would be the number one out of the three we talked about that you're most forward to looking forward to covering.
Correct.
And talking about. What do you think about the impact on Daredevil on the MCU in general? Like where the MCU's at right now with their property, with their their movies that are coming out, their status, their energy, how do you what do you feel like Daredevil potentially can do for Marvel, or if it's up to to anywhere close to the Netflix standards of Daredevil?
Well, if it's up to the standards of what the first three seasons of Daredevil brought, I feel that it'll bring back a lot of the MCU fans and will get them back and wanting to be a part of the MCU again and watching the MCU and, enjoying the MCU again. It has a lot of potential to bring back a lot of those fans that have been disappointed with what stuff they brought out for the last 5 years. So, I mean, it's got huge impact. I mean, that's why it's so important for it to be so damn good. And, the fact that, they went back, did reshoots, did rewrites, did all that stuff really shows that they want this to be the best and closest to the original series as possible, because they realize that they're losing their fans over the last several years and that the direction they went in did not help the MCU. It dampened it. So Daredevil is a very high potential point that will help bring back the MCU, kind of like how Deadpool and Wolverine did last summer.
I really think it's Daredevil could be really important, in that on that level, like you said, kind of bringing back some, like Deadpool Wolverine did, bringing back some, some quality, to what Marvel's putting out. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, what we've seen so far in the trailers looks really good. It looks like it's going to be Netflix-like type quality type television. So we'll see. I'll save my thoughts on Captain America 4 for the review for the most part. All I'll say is just that Cyber and I haven't had a chance to talk about it at all. But obviously, you saw it, I saw it. It has a lot of flaws. You know what I'm saying? But I found it watchable, and I enjoyed seeing it in the theater.
It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
That's a good compliment. That's a high compliment. So it superseded your expectations?
Correct.
Well, that's good. What exactly did that for you?
I mean, it just like overall for what it went through, reshoots, rewrites, stuff like that, it being a giant complete mess. I thought it was a pretty cohesive story that brought in some elements that I was looking to see them finally talk about in the MCU. Like what happened with the celestial body in the Indian Ocean. They bring in Vibranium, or they bring in Animanium finally, talking about the X-Men there finally, So, I mean, there was a couple things in this film that really were talking points that I have been waiting for since the Eternals, since other films. And I thought that made it a plus. And I think those things were things that they changed and brought in because they're trying to push it to the mutant saga, because they're trying to get the multiverse over with because of how bad it planned out. So, I thought that Giancarlo Esposito, bringing him in, was a great idea. Sidewinder, even though his time wasn't huge in the film, he still did it. He made it better of a film. And hey, I got to give it the Hulk fight sequence at the end is absolutely fantastic. High level action. So, I mean, it even though it has a whole bunch of flaws that I personally don't find it and them flawed enough to ruin the film for me. I thought overall the film was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, okay. That's good to hear. Like I said, I enjoyed seeing it. I thought that I didn't feel like it was choppy because of the reshoots or anything like that. The rewrites or anything like that. I felt like the story was fluid. I felt like some of the secondary characters, like you said, Sidewinder, didn't get enough screen time. They could have had him on screen more, and that would have been a little bit better, I think, for the character. The leader, the same thing. He wasn't in the film that much, right? And I really wasn't completely sure what his purpose was. The new Falcon character, he doesn't really. I think they wanted him to add some comedy or something to the film, and I didn't really think he really did that, and I didn't like his costume, his suit. But I liked Sam Wilson. I thought Anthony Mackie was good. And he held it down. For the little bit that we got her, I like that short, Ruth character or whatever, the former Black Widow, head of security chick or whatever. I liked her, she was all right. Again, same thing with her. She could have got more screen time, but overall I thought it was an okay film.
Yep. I agree. And it's doing financially well.
How's it doing box office wise?
It's made $211 million domestically so far.
Okay.
So it's made its budget back already, and I think it's made like almost $200 million overseas too. So it had a huge opening. Its opening week, it did like 105.
Yeah, no, I know that it actually had a pretty solid opening weekend.
Yep. So I mean, surprisingly, it didn't do too bad.
We'll have to see how it makes out this week, and obviously, how things played out. Will play out with this weekend. Obviously, will be very important. But Cyber, you want to go ahead and do your plug, sir?
All right, sir, people. So if you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator here on the MC's Bleeding Edge, you can check out my solo content. Find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Patreon, Threads, Instagram, pretty much anywhere that there's a social media platform. And as you can see there, my most recent couple of films there, reviews or trailer reactions, as you can see, is my Nosferatu movie review, along with Until Dawn trailer reaction. I'll be having some more videos up soon for you guys. I have a few shorts that I put up too of a few movies that I've watched recently. And I have more stuff on the docket. Captain America Brave New World review to do here soon. Love Hurts as well. Review of that. The Monkey, which just came out today. I have to do a review of that. And I'll be trying to get that stuff up there for you guys. As you can see there, the most recent ones there. Black Cab and The Instigators. Instigators, pretty decent film. Black Cab, do not bother watching. I was really disappointed. Even Nick Frost couldn't save the film. So, but yeah, I'll be having more stuff up for you guys. Always appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please keep watching us here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge and keep subscribing to us here and watching us our weekly shows. We appreciate you guys all, and thank you very much.
That's right. And do us a solid and give us a solid podcast rating, because we don't have a lot of podcast ratings or reviews on Apple Podcasts. So get on Apple Podcasts and write up a really dope review on us about how much you love our podcast. And, we're awesome. Me and Cyber Rock, we're awesome. In general, you enjoy our movie reviews. You like all of our excellent TV coverage, which is about to go into hyper gear here shortly, obviously, since we got Daredevil coming up, and then we've got we got Last of Us, and we've got Andor coming out the month after. The question is, what comes out after that, Cyber? I saw that Alien show comes out supposedly this summer. I thought that might be something good for us, but I don't know what's coming out on the back half of 2025, really. You know,
they really haven't mentioned what's coming out yet, really.
No, I know. It's tough. I'm still waiting for a release date on Dead City, too. The Walking Dead spinoff show. For season 2 of that. That was okay, that first season. But all right, Cyber, well, listen. It was really good doing the life review with you. 1999, another 90s movie, another classic film review on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. I appreciate you doing it with me, Cyber. We clocked in an hour and 15 minutes, which is pretty solid. Pretty good timing. I like that. Leaves a lot left in the night still. But we appreciate everybody out there in the audience. Please do us a solid and do all the fun things like follow, like, subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff. Support Cyberneticshark, support Andres and Pop Culture Guys, individual content. We wish you all the best. God bless you. God bless Donald Trump. God bless America. God bless life. And for Cyberneticshark, we're signing off. Peace.
Bring the band in.